Dave Jones here again, continuing on the developing the theory there, and we're going to we just looked at harmonising the major scale and the natural minor scale into triads. We're going to extend them now into seventh chords. So just like you could take the alternate notes, the 1, 3, 5, three alternate notes from the scale and create the triads, if you take a fourth alternate note, so 4 alternate notes from the scale, you create a seventh chord and extend it. It's extension of the triad. Now there's 4 types of 7 chord. There's a major 7, which in a chord chart is abbreviated to MAJ7. There's a minor 7, which has a lowercase m, so if it was C, CM7. There's a dominant 7, which doesn't have, it just has C7, no other letter. And there's another one which we'll go into a bit in a minute, but it's called a minor 7 flat 5. Don't worry about it too much, it doesn't occur that much unless you're into jazz and stuff. And that is abbreviated to, if it was C, C lowercase m7 with a lowercase b flat 5. So just like we were talking about before, the interval between the root and the third, whether it's a minor third or a major third, determine whether the chord was major or minor. You remember the 4 semitones between the root and the third tells you whether the chord's major or minor. There's 2 types of 7th interval. There's a major 7th interval and a minor 7th or a flat 7th interval. And whether your interval, the 7th interval between the 5th and the 7th, because you're taking 1, 3, 5 and 7 now from respective scales, whether that's a major 7 or a minor 7, it depends on the type of chord. And if it's 4 semitones from the 5th, major 3rd interval from the 5th, it becomes it's a major 7th interval. So from C to B, for example, would be a major 7th interval going up the scale. From C to B flat would be a minor 7th interval. So you harmonise it in exactly the same way, and it just depends, the interval between 5 and 7 depends on whether it's a flat 7 or a major 7. So if, for example, we took C, we'd have C, E, G is the next note. And if we go up to B, which is the next note in the C major scale, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones. So that's a major 7 interval. If it was B flat, it will be 3 semitones from the G. 1, 2, 3, and that will be a flat 7 interval. Now the spelling, as we said, the spelling of a major chord is 1, 3, 5, and the spelling of a minor chord is 1, flat 3, 5. Equally, the major 7, minor 7, and dominant 7 chords have got spellings as well. The major 7 chord is spelled 1, 3, 5, 7. The minor 7 chord is spelled 1, flat 3, 5, and a flat 7. Then you have a dominant 7 chord, which is 1, 3, 5, like the major, but with a flat 7. And then you have a minor 7 flat 5, which is 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. So that might all sound quite confusing at the moment, but like I say, I know I keep on about this, but if you print off the PDF, it will become much more clear because you'll actually have it written in black and white in front of you. So what happens is, as you harmonise the, we'll stay on C for a minute, as you harmonise the C major scale, we already established that you've got the 7 chords in there with the Roman numerals to signify what position in the scale each chord takes. And we had C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. What happens is we extend them to 7ths. The C chord has a major 7th interval between the 4 semitones between the root and between the 5th and the 7th. And then the 2 chord would have a minor 7th interval. You can kind of work this out on your guitar if you want to. And then the 3 chord will be a minor 7. The 4 chord will be a major 7. So they don't change that much. You just add the 7 to it. So it's C major chord, C major 7, D minor 7, D minor chord, D minor 7, E minor chord, E minor 7. F major chord becomes F major 7. The only different animal in there is the 5 chord, G, which becomes G dominant 7. Because if we harmonise, if we take the notes from G, G being the 1 now, from the C major scale, it's note 5, but if you take one, miss one, take one, but start on note 5, you get G, B, D, F, missing alternate notes. So G, miss A, take B, miss C, take D, miss E, take F from the C major scale. If it was a major 7, as in the G major scale has got a major 7 in it, it would be an F sharp. It's not, it's an F. You can't have the F sharp because it's not in the scale, so it becomes a flattened 7th. So that gives you G dominant 7, and then A becomes an A minor 7, chord 6, and B becomes a minor 7, flat 5. Don't worry about it too much, you won't be playing it much unless you're into sort of jazz and such like stuff. But the chords are all up on the site, you can learn them, there's nothing wrong with learning them. I mean, it occurs in some songs, but minor 7, flat 5, but not many pop songs. So harmonising the C major scale and taking it up to 7ths, extending them to 7th, we get C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, and then back to C major 7 again. And that works with the all of the chord. As you extend the other scales we've looked at, in this case the G, the D and the F, they all become the same. They go major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7. Chord 5 is in the major key is always a dominant 7 if it's extended. Chord 6 a minor 7, and chord 7 a minor 7 flat 5. And as I explained to you, if you're following these lessons in the previous video, when you harmonise the natural minor scale, the relative natural minor scale to the major, so say, as we've been on about this, C major, A natural minor is its relative minor, you get exactly the same chords when you extend them to 7s. You get A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, and back to chord 1, A minor 7 again. So in the relative minor, in A minor or any natural minor key, chord 7 is the dominant 7 chord. The G is, in this case, is the dominant 7 chord, and it's chord 7. And this can be really useful, particularly in the minors. I'll come into them later, but like I said ages ago in previous lessons, there are other minors, and the positioning of the relevant chords tells you whether it would be a harmonic minor, which is very useful when you come to improvising and soloing. So I hope you kind of got this so far. These things become a lot more clear if you are struggling with it. Lots of people struggle with theory. I certainly did when I started. These things become a lot more clear if you actually play them on the guitar. So if you are working from the site, you'll find that there's arpeggios up on the site, and you tend to understand if you can play, for example, if you can play a C major scale, which you can learn from the site, by taking a note, missing a note, taking a note, missing a note, you'll get the major 7 arpeggio. Equally, the dominant 7's up there, and the minor 7. Start off with majors and minors; they're up there first, and it all starts to fall in, and it falls in a lot better if you actually do it on the guitar. You get visual pictures around the fingerboard of arpeggio shapes, can help with your soloing, and you get visual pictures of like the chord shapes and stuff, and you can actually see the notes and relate them back to the theory. It kind of all fits in together. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you again for another one.